Welcome to Learner's Planet, my dear students. Students, in the previous session we discussed about dietary fibers, the importance of water and balanced diet. So in this session we will continue the lesson with deficiency diseases, the deficiency disorders which are caused by the lack of one or other major food group or any component of food in our diet. Right, so let's start with this session. Yes, so we will now study about deficiency diseases. Students, first of all we should know that what is meant by deficiency disease. Yes, a deficiency disease is caused due to the lack of some nutrient in our diet or any essential component which is very much important for proper bodily functions. So any of the essential component of food or some nutrient, if it is lacking in our diet, then it will cause deficiency disease, right? That means in very short, an individual who is not getting some really important vitamin or mineral or even another or other food group, right? That is carbohydrate, proteins, etc. So these can lead to severe consequences for growth, health or proper bodily activities. That means if anything is lacking in our diet, then it will cause deficiency disease which will indirectly affect our growth, our health or any body functions which we carry out every day, right? So in short we can say that lack of carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins or minerals or fats in the diet can cause many diseases, right? So however, few deficiency diseases are fatal except in the long-term severe cases, and many diseases are treated by supplying those nutrients in some form, right? So we have to take adequate amount of nutrients, or we have to intake adequate amount of nutrients in some or the other form to prevent this deficiency disease. For example, a widespread deficiency disease among early soldiers was scurvy, which resulted from the lack of vitamin C. So in this way, there are many such diseases which are caused by the deficiency or lack of vitamin B, vitamin A, vitamin D, etc. So there are many such diseases which are caused due to the lack of vitamins or carbohydrates or proteins, right? But in this session we will discuss about the deficiency diseases caused due to the lack of carbohydrates as well as proteins, right? So we can say that diseases that are caused due to the lack of carbohydrate, protein, vitamin or mineral in the diet are termed as deficiency diseases. Alright students, so do you know students that deficiency diseases cannot be transmitted from one person to another? That means, in short, deficiency diseases are diseases in humans that are directly or indirectly caused by the essential nutrient in the diet that we discussed. But do remember students, excessive intake of some nutrients can also cause poisoning, that is food poisoning, right? So in short, an excess of any essential nutrient or any lack of nutrient can lead us to any kind of disease. So we must take care of ourselves, right? So let's start with the deficiency of one such major food group known as carbohydrate. Yes students, deficiency of carbohydrate. So what are the actually diseases caused due to the deficiency of carbohydrates? First of all, we should know that how much important are carbohydrates in our diet. Yes, carbohydrates in the form of grains and root vegetables are the main source of energy for the people in the whole world, right? So there is no such requirement for dietary carbohydrates, although the brain, red blood cells in our body, lungs, nerves and some cells in the kidneys use glucose as the preferred source of energy. You know that glucose is the basic carbohydrate, or we can say it is the basic food which is also prepared by the green plants, right? So glucose is a type of carbohydrate which is needed by our body and which acts as a source of energy for our body, right? So carbohydrates are the cheapest way to supply energy to the human body, and this adequate supply of energy, or we can say adequate supply of carbohydrates in the diet, is good for growth and maintenance of our body, right? So always remember that the main sources of carbohydrates are the plants. For example, starch, sugars, cereals, potatoes, legumes, millets, roots and other vegetables, then sugars which are found in fruits, then fruit juice, cane, honey, palm, milk, etc. So in short, we can say that these main sources of carbohydrates are plants and we should consume it, right? So carbohydrates play one or the other important role in our diet. Okay students, so lack of carbohydrates in the diet results in the lack of energy and stamina. That means that carbohydrates are very much essential for our body, right? Because they provide our body with the source of fuel and energy that is required to carry out daily activities and also exercise. So during exercise or playing sports, we need a lot of energy, and that instant source of energy is provided by the carbohydrates. So you can think that carbohydrates, if lack of carbohydrates is there in our diet, then it will result in the lack of energy and stamina, and we will not be able to carry out the daily activities, right? So carbohydrates are also important for the working of our heart, the pumping organ, brain, nervous system, immune system and digestive system, right? So for all these systems and all such vital organs, carbohydrates are very much essential. Means glucose, which is the preferred source of energy that is needed by our organs, right? So we should know that what we should include in our diet and what should we not include in our diet, right? What should we consume? Because there are many components of food in which carbohydrate is present, but we should know that what kind of food we should take in so that we can get the required amount of carbohydrate, because excess of carbohydrate can also lead to many disorders, right? So our bodies need a constant supply of energy to function properly, and by the lack of carbohydrate in the diet, it can cause tiredness or fatigue or poor mental function and even the lack of stamina, right, as we discussed above, right? So there are also other fibers which also forms the form of carbohydrate, which is essential for the elimination of waste materials. Means it removes out the toxins from our body, and it helps to keep the intestines disease free and in a very clean manner, right? So as carbohydrates are digested and broken down by the body, they are converted into glucose, which is also called as blood sugar, and this blood sugar is then used or stored as this stored sugar is used as energy when we carry out any activity, right? So if carbohydrates are not present inside our body, then there will be no particular deficiency disorder, but what will happen? Lack of stamina, lack of energy, tiredness, fatigueness can happen, right? So now we will see that what we should consume in our diet. Yes, we should consume carbohydrate-rich foods like bran, wheat germ, brown rice, potatoes, legumes, oats, beans, peas, corn, root vegetables such as carrots, turnips, radishes, fruits and vegetables, etc. So these are all carbohydrate-rich foods with which we can get the required or the adequate amount of carbohydrate, but we should not consume sweets or sugary breakfast cereals, cakes, pastries, biscuits, chocolate, etc. Why? And the fizzy drinks also, even the table sugar which contains sucrose, right? So these foods are the direct sources, and these are some of the sources in which the carbohydrate, in which the sweets or something is added, natural sugar is added, and that is not good for our health, right? So we should consume such foods from which we can get carbohydrates in a direct form, and that is very much healthy for us, right? So always remember that glucose from the carbohydrates acts as a fuel for our brain, and this sugar is used by our brain, and brain uses it to produce the energy that moves and motivates us. That is helpful for our movement. And always remember that soft drink quickly raises the blood sugar in us, right? Which will give us a boost for some time, but it is not good for our health. So we should not consume soft drinks. Alright? So always remember that what we should include in our diet and what we should not include in our diet, right? So I hope you are clear with the deficiency of carbohydrates. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is the deficiency of proteins. Yes. Students, you should know that protein accounts for 20% of our body weight. That means it is helpful to us in many ways, like it keeps our immune system functioning properly, it helps to maintain healthy skin, hair and nails, and even many enzymes are also made up of proteins. So students, you will be amazed to know that protein was the first substance to be recognized as a vital or the important part of living tissue, and it came from the Greek word proteos, which means the primary place. Primary place means it indicates the importance of this nutrient in the function of our body. As you know that proteins are also required for muscle building and repair of worn out tissues in our body, right? So it is helpful to us in many ways, right? And that is why we can say that both adults and children can be healthy by taking adequate intake of protein. As a result, protein deficiency is most often seen in such people who do not take required amount of protein in the diet, right? As we discussed that adequate intake of protein is very much healthy for adults and children, and if we will not take adequate amount of protein, then it can result to protein deficiency. That means first of all, the lack of proteins in the diet will weaken our muscles, right? And even the growing children need proteins in their diet, because protein provides 4 calories per gram when carbohydrates and fats are not available to us, right? So now let's see that what is actually meant by protein deficiency. Yes, deficiency of protein is called protein energy malnutrition, also called as PEM. So there are 2 types of PEM, that is 2 types of protein energy malnutrition, and that are marasmus and kwashiorkor, a type of protein disorders, right? So let's study about them in detail. Yes, first is the kwashiorkor. First described in 1933, and it typically occurred in children who were younger than 4 years. That means it typically occurs in the children younger than 4 years old, fed diets which are high in carbohydrates with little or no amount of protein. Means their diet included carbohydrates, but their diet didn't included any type of protein, or there was very little amount of protein in their diet. So that is why we can say a child which is suffering from kwashiorkor has some or all of the following symptoms, like large pot like belly, tummy, then stunted growth, means growth is hindered, it cannot grow in height, right? And in body also there is no growth. Then swelling of face and limbs takes place, especially the part that is the feet. Then skin diseases takes place, then red color rashes appear on the body, then mental retardation, the child is not able to think properly and act properly, and the body movements are also not properly functioning, and even diarrhea also takes place, right? So intake of protein in required amount may cure this disease, because proteins should be included in the diet for a child suffering from kwashiorkor disease, right? Because this is a disease caused due to the deficiency of protein. So if there will be no protein included in its diet, then obviously this disease will increase at a very high rate, and then what will happen? Finally, the death of a child will occur. So if the treatment intake is started in time, then improving protein intake may cure this disease. So a child suffering from kwashiorkor disease should include protein in its diet as described or recommended by the doctor. Now let's see another type of disease which is caused due to the deficiency of protein. Yes, marasmus. Marasmus is more common among infants. That means the children who are very much less than 1 year or till 1 year, and the children under 5 years of age, most probably they are the victim of such disease. That is why a child suffering from marasmus has following kind of symptoms, like it becomes very thin, he or she shows slow body growth, then lack of energy, loss of appetite, the child is not able to eat properly because he doesn't feel hungry at all, then weak legs, mental retardation as we saw in the kwashiorkor disease also, and even poor muscle development. There is no muscular development in the child suffering from marasmus. So it is also a type of protein deficiency disorder which can occur in people of all the ages, but most probably it occurs in the children under 5 years of age and among infants, right? So this is also a disorder which occurs in the people who have limited access to protein food, but it is most commonly seen in non-breastfed children, right? So students, always remember that a child which is suffering from marasmus includes weight loss, muscle wasting, loss of visible fat stores, even weakness, even fatigueness is experienced, and frequent infections also take place due to the decreased activity of the immune system, right? So this is very much important to know that what should be included in the diet of the children, right? So you will be amazed to know that protein energy malnutrition is especially common in children in underdeveloped nations, because children require more protein than adults for the rapid growth and development that occurs during childhood. So according to WHO, World Health Organization, approximately 300 million children throughout the world suffer from the decrease in the growth due to protein energy malnutrition. And also in the developed countries, protein energy malnutrition is most likely to affect the people who have suffered severe physical injuries that increases the protein needs in the body, right? So to prevent these protein deficiencies or diseases, the Government of India has started programs such as Integrated Child Development Scheme, also called as ICDS, and the Midday Meal Scheme in schools. So what is actually this for? The schools, why these schools have came into existence? Because the Midday Meal Scheme has been launched by the Government of India, and under this scheme, school-going children are provided free nutritious food in their schools. That means the food which will include all the vital components of food, which will include vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, everything. So it has two main motives. That is, first, to promote the education in rural India, especially among the poor children, who will come to know about the diet which we should include in include that will make our body healthy, and it also has the motives, two main motives. That first we saw that to promote education, and the second one is to prevent malnutrition in children, right? So these are the two main important motives which comes under this scheme. So that is a very good step taken by the government, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this session and learned about the some deficiency disorders. So we will continue in the next session with this lesson. We will come up with another deficiency disorders, right? So till then, keep learning, keep enjoying.